Okay, hello everyone. Well, today we are going to continue with what we saw in the last week. In the last week, we learned that inflation is a variable that affects the exchange rate. I think it was very clear because if the price of goods increase in one place, then people are going to buy goods on another country because they are cheaper, and then the demand for that currency will increase, changing the prices. So I think if it was very clear from the last presentation in the last week. But now we are going to continue with something else because inflation is important. Inflation is something that defines the price of the exchange rate. But apart from inflation, there is another very important thing that we need to consider. And the other important thing is risk, right? So if you want to know if it is good or bad to invest in a country, you need to check its risk. If the country is, I don't know, doing policies that are bad for the country, or if the country is not taking, I don't know, responsibilities over things that they should care about, or maybe there is a security problem in there, all of that is reflect on risk. And what is the variable that we know from economics that reflects risk? Well, it is the interest rate, right? Because the interest rate reflects how risky is a country. And the next question is, which interest rate is useful for us if we want to include the risk, but also inflation? A tip for this, or a trick that maybe can be useful for you, is that remember there are two types of interest rate, nominal and real. So real rate, the real interest rate, is the one that doesn't consider inflation, so it's only risk. And if you add inflation, then you will have the nominal rate, nominal interest rate. That means that we are going to be using the nominal interest rate to calculate the exchange rates between two different countries, because the nominal interest rate includes first inflation, which we already know from the previous class that is important, but also risk, which is the thing that we are going to incorporate today. So in conclusion, inflation affects the exchange rate, but also risk. And if we mix these two concepts into one variable, it is the nominal interest rate. It seems simple, but it took a while for economists to discover this or to prove it. And it was so important that someone won a Nobel Prize from this. His last name was Fisher. So if you heard about the Fisher effect, that's what we are going to do in this class. So this is only the introduction. In the next video, we're going to practice.